Good afternoon, folks. This is Darth Rabbit07 coming to you today with another quick review. Today on the turntable, I got none other than the Transformer Studios Series 86, number 26, Swoop, last of the Dinobots. Late to the party, but better than never. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, all the stuff down below. Thanks again for watching my content and channel. You guys don't know how much I appreciate you guys. Let's take a closer look at Swoop. And instead of the front of the box, we're going to go with the back of the box first. You have Dinobot Swoop going from 21 steps from robot to pterodactyl and back again. Of course, I feel like it's fewer than that, as many times as I've changed it already. Swoop and the Dinobots drop in to destroy Devastator. From that movie, you got the beautiful looking artwork on the side. Then you got the figure out of his box looking pretty magnificent. Let's go get that back off the table there. He does come with two swords, but I left them off for this portion of the review because this is the way that we wanted Swoop always, forever and a day. To begin with, and we'll just go ahead and do a 360, let you see how he cleans up pretty good there. You look at the back of the back there and how the wings fold up and how all that stuff works, the spurs, the left side. And I got that out just a little bit. That's the angle you got to have in order to give him his full articulation at the waist. We'll start right there real quick with that. So you can get all the way around at the waist, and then it kind of still rubs. Word of warning though, I've already had some paint chip and splatter. I've dropped it a couple of times, like in my little bit of play and time with this thing. And I feel like this could have benefited from being a gold piece versus a painted red piece. But anyway, paint used is really pretty, but I really like how the sparkle blue. I wish that that would have been something carried over to the transition of the arms, because that just looks kind of plain. Once you've got the sparkly blue and you got the sparkly paint, it just kind of looks very, very detracting from there. He can kick up that high and far. He can go back this far. He can get that much in the knee and then this some, because the transformation joint to fold up onto the back. When you get down here to the feet, you got this little thing. It will kind of clip in stuff into place there. You got ankle tilts as much as you need. It has that little nice little bit. I always appreciate them doing that for all the gappiness that they do to manage to squeak into stuff. He's not so gappy as other figures, but any of the Dinobots has to have a update or upgrade kit, and that's kind of like one of the negatives I got going into this review, is the fact that you got to get upgrade kits to still, you know, fix an already $50 figure. That should have been, this shouldn't have been an oversight. You got like this stuff that third party is going to have another piece probably come out and have it where it hinges a gap cover there, but that's that. This is like been gap filled from the factory, which I do appreciate, but this is not. We'll get more into that later when we get into pterodactyl mode. Going back in, I always appreciate having a good wrist swivel there, but then again, there is the gappiness that just kind of, anytime they can get a gap in there, they get a gap in there, and that's frustrating for an already $50 figure. Like I was saying, you can get a full T, Mr. T pose, you can get the full van damage. That is just so rocking there, and tempoed on pretty good is the Autobot symbol. Of course, mine doesn't look exactly centered, but you know, always a challenge. There's gappage there. I find the gappage, man. I guess that's my special ability with these Transformers, is finding all the gaps. But and speaking of gaps, this is unacceptable, Hasbro. This is horrendous, and I'm hoping that a third party like DNA Designs will come up with something that's a little bit more solid than this waffly piece of pew pew. Okay, so there's that editorial edition of what I think about those blasters. They look nice as long as you don't take them off, and then I can appreciate that you did, you know, level that out. So then if you do try to get it to get in the hand, it actually peg in due to the nice cut there. That awful waffleness, man. That's where it kills it. The robot mode's really good other than outside of that. And oh, the other negative, you can look down some here, and this can come on down. You got some of that neck joint that you can raise up like that. That's not the negative. The negative is when you're trying to look up with a flying character, they just can't seem to get this stuff off the back here. It really doesn't need to be there, and I'll probably end up modding this my own time, since that's got a screw hole, and I can probably mod it in my own time. So I feel that a flying character should be able to look up and do flying poses. All he can do is kind of look like down at the ground now. I mean, that's all he can do. Anyway, all that said and done, This is the stronger of the two modes, because when you get into pterodactyl mode, then you get my other rage and feelings on that. In 3, 2, 1, and here is Swoop in his beast mode, his pterodactyl mode that we've all long waited for the last little bit. Here's a look at the side, the back, on the other side, and this. And guys, I gotta say, I find this is the weakest of the two modes. And going right back into what I was saying earlier, we get into this whole thing. It's like the gap filled, this stuff at one point or another there. You look at the back of the wings, it's got some nice detail and actually nice paint work throughout that part of it or whatnot. The lack of paint on the legs that got put to the wings is jarring. And even like right here in these bits here too, in this natural sunlight, you can see that, clear as day, clear as a bell and whistle. I like that you get little places that you can plug the weapons in as you want to or see fit. But the thing that really just kind of irks me with this guy is these wings altogether. How they do this. This is just a weak spot waiting to be damaged. And you can kind of do that and get another configuration. But I mean, it doesn't do anything for me, man. I really don't like the way that this was handled with this right here. I think that other versions have done this better over time and looking at stuff out there on YouTube. But this was done with the cheapest budget, I guess, possible. That's the other thing. Like, you got a flight stand peg hole there, but no flight stand. You can manage a flight stand. This guy not having his own flight stand is a huge missed opportunity, and just really doesn't make any sense. You did include swords and the two weapons there, and I appreciate that. But you get rid of that cardboard drop and give us a flight stand, and this would have been a lot better off. It might even help push me the other way to not giving it such a negative review. You can also do the little toesies out like this if you so desire, but even I feel like that got shortchanged. Feel like those legs should have folded on up on his back a little bit more further, or had another extra joint or something back there. Everything just looks kind of weird to me in this mode, even the beak and that kind of stuff. And you do get that articulation there. Let's go ahead and get into the beast mode's articulation while we're at it here, guys. So I'm gonna pull that back off of this flight stand that I borrowed from New Age. Whoever seems to be crushing it these days. You can get quite a bit up. You can get some down, but there is zero side to side. That's a very nasty shortcoming. Even the New Age version was guilty of that same thing there. But I mean, I feel like that head could have been done better, and they had a chance and an opportunity to crush it out of the park, and they keep on shooting themselves in the foot. Like I said, there's something about this. The mileage may vary, kind of thing, but it doesn't seem like this is just already coming loose. And when that pin or it gets dropped just right, this is going to break. But there, you got that articulation. You can also get another little way to go there, and you get some of that wing stuff going on. You can detach it from the arms, which kind of makes it all kind of loosey-goosey. But I mean, you can get a little bit more stuff and get like a flapping motion and what have you there. I'm trying to remain hugely positive, but there is zero need for either side of this to be gappy right there. And that goes back to the back of the head here. Even though that if it's up, it's not going to have it. You left a big Y gap right here, Hasbro. And I like to have the peg hole, but not this other waffleness there. And then there's another flight stand peg hole there. But anyway, that's just the way this thing goes and unfurls. You can get and manage a dive mode if you fold this back out and do like this, and you can kind of have him doing a dive kind of pose there if you want to. You get his head up here like this, so you have him power diving like that. So there's that little UFO diving swoop pose, and you can unfurl the wings back out here and go back into flight mode. I do appreciate the double joint there at that, but see, these are just so floppy on mine. I just don't really, I think that's the wing design just really irks me. It could have been so much better. And yeah, it's retail and not a masterpiece, but I expect more after all the money I've spent on this stuff over the years and what have you. And the flight stand would have been so much more appreciated instead of having to fake one of those. Well, ain't much left to do there, guys, but to get this guy into some final thoughts. Some final thoughts on Swoop. I really wanted to love this release. It's been 4 long years, which is part of the reason why I don't love it. Then the other reason is that every Dinobot released in the Studio Series line has had to have a gap filler of some sort to go back through and fill the gaps in. the oversight of the wings not being totally filled in when you filled in the other portions. The design of the wings really bothers me in both modes, because like one little drop or, wrong movement would snap this very, very small spot. These little gray pieces right here that hold it together are already popping off on my copy. Your mileage may vary. The whole not being able to look up with the flying character, the ability of the pterodactyl not being able to look side to side, and this is a little floppy inside this chest mode. It doesn't really lock together on my copy. Your mileage may vary. I mean, you may have a better rendition, and I have to recommend it because this is the end of the Dinobots for the Studio Series. Do I like it? No. I wanted to very much fall in love with it, and it looks good in robot mode for the most part, but that pterodactyl mode, the wings, the wing design really bugs me. And this is another example of Hasbro doing it to where one mode, the robot mode, gets it better than the beast mode and or the pterodactyl mode. And while the transformation is simplistic, I just expected a little bit more. And my copy is a slightly floppy mess, and it burns me up. After waiting for 4 years, this is unacceptable. But I mean, you still got to grab this guy to finish that collection and that line of thought. But I mean, and then the paint, I think the game molded stuff, that's got to stop. You got to make gold pieces where they should be gold, and or do the yellow. The Dinobot yellow works just fine, as you see there on the artwork there. This is already scraping, and I mean, just look at that. It's just a nasty mess there. And you can say well played or well loved or whatever. I wanted to love this one, but I really just do not. It irks me, and I hate giving that final thought that how irked I am at this. This should have been so much better, and for the most part, it checks a box for a lot of folks, but it just didn't check my box. And the waffling on the guns and that stuff. This waffling thing has to stop, Hasbro. $50 on a figure. You could have included a flight stand where you went hollow, but just don't include that cardboard thing. Nobody displays the cardboard on a Studio Series, and the waffling is getting old. That said, y'all have a great day. That's just my thoughts and my take on the rest of the Studio Series Dinobots. Have a great day, everybody. Until all are one, guys. Thanks for watching.